Excellent. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for another edition of Cybersecurity Mentoring Group. And I hope you're keeping well. Cybersecurity Mentoring Group is a platform where we'll share, we learn, and we connect. We essentially connect with experienced cybersecurity professionals who have been there, done that, and gone through the journey for us to learn and pick something from their experience. So we invite people who are well versed and experienced in the field to help us, and people who are trying to start that journey, navigate their path in cybersecurity. So if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. We have a LinkedIn page, and we also have a closed WhatsApp group, but there's not much on there. We try to be available online because that's where the action is. That's where you need to create a digital footprint so that people can see your work and then they can connect with you. So thank you and welcome. Today, we have an important guest, but before I go on unveiling our guest, I will just speak briefly about something I'm working on. I am done. This week, I should be able to publish it, is the common vulnerability and enumeration, CVE, that is published and maintained by MITRE. And I have looked at the Q1 2025, and I think there are some things that professionals can get out of it. It contains a list of vulnerabilities that were published between January and March, and over 12,000 vulnerabilities that were being published. And it is important that we know where the exposures are so that we can take actions and mitigate them. So I'll be sharing that insight on our page on LinkedIn by next week. So please look out for it, and you'll be able to download it from there. A common vulnerability exposure and exposures are CV. I think I mentioned enumeration earlier. Forgive me. All right. I think we should get into, let me see our time. We should get into our conversation straight away. This is 10 minutes past time, and we want to see how we can maximize the time for, say, roughly around 40 minutes of conversation, and then we then have question and answer session. So please, let's welcome our guest today. So, as I usually do, I go through profile on LinkedIn, and then I reach out to people that I think they've got something that we need. And kindly, I reached out to Uchenna, and I said, please, I would like to invite you to come speak to the community. And she gladly, there was no much cajoling. It was just straightforward acceptance. And I want to thank Uchenna for accepting to come share some thought with us on the conversation of cybersecurity certification. So I won't do much talking about Uchenna. I will allow her to, to do the talking, tell us about our journey, our career, cybersecurity, and all of those things that, they can get us motivated, so that in case you are, you're on that path, or you are trying to get into that path today, you can get some energy from our guest today. So let's welcome Uchenna.
Excellent. Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Wale, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm very glad to be here. I've been doing this. I've been a mentor for Cyber Girls, so I've been with them for 3 years. I've mentored women in cybersecurity through United Nations, so I've been doing mentoring. And because of how tight our jobs, our schedules are, so we like to have maybe a week, 2-3 weeks notice before we plan to appear. And thank you very much for this opportunity. So I'm going to be talking to us about certifications, Well, if I can share my screen.
Yeah, let me give you the rights to go to just do that now. I'll make you the host, then you can okay, yeah, found you.
Okay.
So you are the host now, so you
Okay.
can go ahead and share your screen.
All right. Okay. So
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so I'm trying to put it in a presentation mode.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you can see now. Yeah. Thank
yeah,
you.
you can see my screen. Okay, so okay, sorry. Go back again. What happened? A moment. It looks like I've lost it. Let me. Okay. So I'm going to be talking to us today about certification, how to get certified. You know, there's this buzzword that says, okay, certification validates your competency. I don't know if we have people that try to do certifications in early 2000. I don't know if we have them here. So I remember vividly those days, especially certifications like Microsoft. There are things we call exam dumps then, exam dumps. I don't know if we have people here, or maybe some people on this call were still in the university or secondary school then. So those days, what you usually do is when you're writing the exam, you ask people that have written it before. You can even go online and you get the exam dumps. Exam dumps are like questions, possible questions that you could meet in the exam. And if you're lucky, you get 50%, 60%, or 70% of those dumps, exactly the same question in the exam hall. And those days, people don't quite recognize certifications because they think, oh, do I need to know much? All I need to do is to get the dumps and maybe go through it 3, 4, 5, 7 times, and it will stick in my head. But when cybersecurity started advancing, and we found out that it is not as passive or as what will I use now? Like those exams of Microsoft. So cybersecurity moves is like a moving goalpost. So we are talking about vulnerabilities, we are talking about incidents, we are talking about a lot of things, networks, and you know how often network technology evolves. So at that time, we started recognizing, you know, what certification can do or how certification is going to help us. So, but before I proceed, I'm going to give a little background of myself. This is like Wale said, to tell you, because sometimes I won't say Nigeria, mostly Africans, sometimes some set of people, they look at the finished work, you know, the finished goal. Oh, so this is it. Oh, this person is now the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. Oh, this person is the director in this organization. It's also good to tell the story where we started. So I started my career from Platinum Bank. I don't know if anybody can remember Platinum Bank. It is now known as Bank PH. Oh, it moved from Platinum Bank to Bank PH. Please, if you can't hear me, okay. I don't think I'm being seen. Okay. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, that's fine now. That's fine. We can see you now. Yeah.
Okay. So if you can't remember Platinum Bank, I'm sure we can remember Bank PHB and then finally Keystone Bank. It is now Keystone
I can
Bank.
remember that bank that wants to make cars run
So
on water.
yes. Oh yeah, you remember Francis Atuche. You know, that was what we were trying to do when CBN gave us mandates to merge. So Platinum Bank merged with Habib Bank, and then they were into operations, and then they finally changed their name to Keystone Bank. So, and those days in Lagos, all you need to do is to pass your aptitude test. And aptitude test, sometimes you have to get crashed. I remember Platinum Bank, I get crashed into Platinum Bank after I did Diamond Bank in Unilag. So Platinum Bank was done in King's College. So I'm telling the Gen Zs what we did those days. So we move around from one place in Lagos to another. Any place that have hall, there must be aptitude test over the weekend. So basically, when I was in Platinum Bank, I was in operations. So in banking system, you have operations and marketing. And marketing are the people that are giving targets to bring the money into the banking system. And those days, banks are being recognized because of their balance sheet. How much money do you have in liquid assets? So I remember I was in operations supporting IT. And I had friends that I joined the bank with, and some of them were in marketing. So after the first 2 years, I was struggling to get one promotion. And this lady I came in with, she had already got 3 promotions. In fact, her third promotion, she was given a BMW. And guess what happened? Because she was able to bring the Nigerian military salary account to Platinum Bank. I don't know if you understand what that means. Close to 500,000 persons. And those were the days of COT. So anybody that is withdrawing money, bank is charging them. So at that point in time, I made the decision. I realized, oh no, banking is not for me because I can't grow here. And when I spoke to some of my friends, they were like, oh, you start thinking of certifications if you want to, because initially before I joined the bank, I was thinking of working with MTN. That was when they came, Airtel and all that. And then I finished my master's from UI. I did a course in control engineering, computer and control engineering. So I was also targeting Nigeria airspace to work in the airport control system. So, but because we all understand in Nigeria, I'm giving this background story to encourage everyone that is listening to me. Those days in Nigeria, even up to tomorrow, sometimes your passion, you have to put your passion in a cave, close it somewhere, and all you're looking for is money to pay your bills, or even money to start off your passion. So when I was at home for 6 months, waiting for MTN and all those, and they were not coming, I was like, okay, I think it's time to go out and even join the bank, because then at 2002, 2003, we had about 120 something banks in Nigeria then. So you must surely get, if you pass the aptitude test, you're getting into any of the banks. So it was there and then in 2005, I said, oh no, so the bank is not for me. The commercial bank is not for me. That was when I started thinking of certifications in IT, because that was what my friends and mentor told me. You have to get certified and leave. So I started with OCA, OCP. I don't know if anybody understands that. I don't even put it in my credentials anymore because I rarely use them. Oracle Certified Database Professional, Oracle Certified Database Administrator. So from there, I moved. So it helped me to get into where I worked, EMEC Foster Wheeler. So EMEC is an oil servicing company owned by UK government. So they were at that point doing exploration in Nigeria. So I worked with them for about 7 years. And while I was with them, I did so if you look at what I'm showing on the board, I have years, organizations I've worked with, my job title, and the certifications. So during that period, I did project management. So I was thinking, because I was in a project management organization, because my organization then was doing engineering and project management for Shell and ExxonMobil. So I found it interesting to do something in project management, and I really enjoyed it. From there, I'll tell you when to understand, when you are in industry, you start understanding the move, the diversification, the dynamism in your industry. So for example, in information technology, you need to understand, because if I had stuck with Oracle Database Administration and all that, I think I'll be struggling at this point. So when I finished project management, I said, you have friends around, people you move around with. I started hearing about, okay, auditing, information security auditing. So that was when I moved into, okay, so let me do CISA. When I did CISA and I looked at ISACA, I realized, oh, ISACA has CISM, it has CGET and all that. So I said, okay, so CISM is more in the sense that you have to have hands-on experience before you can pick up that. So I quickly moved into governance. And then if you also see that, you see that I did one certification, Six Sigma Black Belts. I'll still tell you how I got to know about that certification. It's something about process reengineering. And during our work with ExxonMobil, there was a need, in project management. The next level of project management is, when you have an organization, you're looking at process, you're looking at project. Process is day-to-day activity, and projects are things that has timeline. So those are initiatives you implement to ensure that your processes are optimized. So that was what led me into doing Certified Six Sigma project, Six Sigma Black Belt. So Sigma Black Belt talks about process reengineering, talks about lean manufacturing and all that. So from there in 2013, I got my job in Central Bank. So from Central Bank, I started from 2013 till 2025. And in Central Bank, initially I was employed as a IT risk person based on my experience and exposure. And from there, I moved fully into information security. So I moved from IT governance, risk and compliance, and then I moved into information security, risk and resilience. So at this point, I was doing security programs. I was in charge of implementing security programs, whether we are doing data protection programs, vulnerability management implementation, IAM implementation, all the security programs. I was in charge of that. And while I was there, I also was, based on my work, I was seconded to a third-party organization. It's called Nigeria Financial Industry, SAT. I'm sure some of us here understand what SAT means. SAT means Computer Emergency Response Team. But what it eventually means is a SAT is like an optimized SOC, Security Operations Center. So SAT is like an external SOC. So in SAT, you have like sectorial SOCs coming together to think on how to manage incidents within the sector. So I led the project and I led the team that did their cybersecurity. Then from there, I was moved to Governor's Department in the Central Bank, where I was on advisory role on technology, cyber operations, and risk. So if you look at from 2013 to 2015, so those certifications, I numbered them based on how I did them. So I did ITO, I did business continuity, I did COBIT, I did the management of risk. It's like business risk. So that was when I did season. And while I was doing my security project management, I realized that we're moving away from traditional project management, which was PMP, and we're now doing Scrum, we're doing Agile project management. So I decided to take up on Scrum management. And then I did Microsoft Power BI just to help with data analytics. And eventually sometime in 2023, when I was still aspiring to be a chief information officer, chief security information officer, which is still my aspiration. So I did that CCSO by EC Council. So that's about my career and certification journey. And by the left-hand side, or which is your right-hand side, you will see some of the skills. So why did I put this up before going deep into the presentation? It's to tell you that the ocean is just drop of water that makes an ocean. There must be a starting point. And to be honest, I'm going to talk to us about defining our career path, because there's no way you will know the certifications you're taking and the reasons why you're taking those certifications if you don't know a career path, if you don't have a career path, and you have to plan your career. I'm sure some of us here must have attended an interview where somebody asked you, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? If you don't prepare for that, you won't be able to answer those questions in the interview. And for you to be able to prepare for that, you must have documented it. Like I usually tell my mentees, any plan you have that is not documented in black and white, whether you're going to use pen and paper, whether you're going to pull up an Excel sheet, whether you're going to use Microsoft Word, if you don't document them, they're just a wish. So they'll just wish list. So basically, before you start anything on your career, you must know what specific goals have you set for yourself. What are your 5 years, 10 years goal? Maybe 2, 3 years. You can start with 1 year, even 6 months. As far as you have documented these goals and have plans on how to achieve that, what steps do you need to take to accomplish those goals? What strategies do you put in place? These are the questions that when you put them down and answer them, you're going to have almost a book on how you're going to define your career. So what skills or knowledge do you need to gain from those goals? So because of time, I'm not going to spend so much time on each of the slides. So I give you a quick definition. What a career plan is a structured roadmap that is, so take note of those words that are in red, that outlines an individual's professional goals and aspirations and the steps needed to achieve them over a specified period of time. So let me give you an example of myself. When I was trying to write PMP in 2009, I tried to write that exam for 6 months. I couldn't write it. You know, there must be an excuse for you not to do something. If you want, keep giving that excuses. But one of the strategy I did, which worked for me, was I said, okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go and pay for the exam, because what I usually would do, I'll keep reading, preparing, you know, so I'll set a timetable. I'll be reading 2 hours a day, but you must have an excuse not to read 2 hours for a day. So for two months, I found out, oh, Uche, you've not done this exam again. So I'll again shift for another 2 months. When I felt the third time, what I did was to go and pay for the exam. I paid $500 for the exam. I'm sorry to say, then $500, dollar at 2009 it shouldn't be up to 100 naira. So, and I remember at least I was earning ×2 of what I used to write that exam. So when I paid for that exam, so 6 weeks into the exam, remember 2 months, 6 weeks into the exam, I wasn't prepared. 5 weeks into the exam, 1 month into the exam, I was like, no, I can't lose $500. In as much as, you know, when you're in university, you don't fail exam because your parents are paying your school fees. But when you're paying your own fees, I mean, you can fail and then cry in your bathroom and move on, right? So but I said, no, I'm not going to lose that money. 3 weeks to the exam, I took leave. And when I took my leave, I was studying for 8 hours every day. So why am I saying this? There must be time. You must put a timeline to when you're going to write your exam. You must have a roadmap. If you don't have a roadmap, 2009 would have come and gone, 2010, 11. I knew people that I did that training with in 2009. Till today, they are not certified project managers because they keep procrastinating. So if you understand that your career plan must be a roadmap, it must define your goals and aspirations. And then we're going to talk about how to define your goals and aspirations before we go into the certifications. So I'm going to run through this. I won't spend so much time on this. So we have, first of all, you must do your self-assessment. I know some of us in Nigeria, our parents determine the course of study in university. But when you graduate, at this point in time, you're trying to define your career. That's your second chance of defining what you want to do and who you want to be. So the best thing you have to do to yourself or do for yourself is to do self-assessment. Now, it's not daddy, it's not mommy. You are the one. Do yourself, conduct a self-assessment and understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your skills, your passions. When I was in secondary school, I was best at biology. And all my friends, I remember then in Enugu, everybody was putting medicine, University of Nigeria, so medicine. I told myself, Uche, you can't withstand blood. Don't even deceive yourself. So that was why I chose computer science. I was also good with mathematics. So at this point, if you didn't have that opportunity to define what you want to do, or some of us, you know, you do your first choice, second choice, and first choice, you couldn't get it. You now landed in one other course. This is your opportunity, because in Nigeria, in career, in labor market, it looks like BSc is like a general education for everybody. After BSc, then you can decide on what to do. Conduct your self-assessment, identify your skills, your weaknesses, your interests, values, and passion. That's what is going to help you to set goals. So set that goal you want. So I hope that everybody here, we are talking about cybersecurity, information security, risk management, everything technology. Whatever you're trying to do, you set your goals. Your goal should be, okay, this is my short-term goal, this is my medium goal, this is my long-term goal. So I give you an example. If you're on cybersecurity, you want to be chief information security officer of a 500 Fortune company or of a bank in Nigeria. You're not going to be, if you're starting your career this year, you're not going to be a CISO in 2 years' time. No, you're going to start by being an incident analyst, a vulnerability manager, a security network administrator, Security Operations Center Manager before you get into that, or you want to be a GRC, Governance, Risk and Compliance. First of all, you're going to be a risk analyst, you're going to be a compliance specialist, and then, so you set those goals and say, okay, my short terms could be in 2 years, I will do this. In 5 years, I'm going to do this. So you must set a goal, and this has to be documented. And then the third one is those goals that I've set myself. I set for myself, I want to be a GLC. So what are the skills and qualifications that I would need to be able to do that? So your skills and qualifications, you must identify. How do you identify that? You seek out a mentor. Of course, you, in fact, like I tell some Gen Zs in my office, people are so lucky. Like you can go online and copy or emulate someone, a hidden model. You can just go. I know some people that, oh, madam, I've been following you. Do you understand? So you can say, this person, okay, let me see what she has been doing. From, oh, she did this course, she did this course. So you can copy that person's model, okay? So if you're not doing that, you're seeking out a mentor who is going to help you plan this. If you're not doing that, you're going to Google and guess the easiest and cheapest one. Go to ChatGPT and say, I want to be a governance GLC specialist in the next 10 years. Believe you me, it will give you a career plan. That's what GLC is. That's what ChatGPT will do for you. So you see, it's easier now. So number 3 is the business of the day. So I'll just go through the other ones quickly. Like I always say, do a roadmap. Roadmap will identify timeline on how you're going to achieve those goals. Then do not forget about finance. Finance is very important. I did my CISA in 2012 and I paid $550 to ISACA. And I remember $550, if I remember vividly, in 2012, dollar was about 140 Naira. So if you're converting $550 to that, at that time, you should be talking about 82,000. And at 2012, I was earning times 2.5 of that. So it's easy for me to take a portion of my salary and do the exam. Today, from what I heard a few weeks ago, CISA is about $750. And ladies and gentlemen, $750 in Nigeria today is about 1.3 million. Or 1.2 million. I don't know how many people earned that in a month. So what that means, if you're going to do such certification, you're going to take a portion of your salary for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, unless you have your parents, sponsors, or guidance that are going to pay for your exam. So in your career plan, identify the financial cost implication of whatever you want to achieve. Okay, so sometimes people take up any job just to gather money to, start off their career. If that is where you are, please admit that and continue to go on that. So this is like your career plan. So when you do that, do your research, look for companies, do networking, build your resume, your branding, adaptability. Adaptability is very important. Recognize that career plans must be flexible and adaptable as circumstances change. 5 years ago, I was never thinking of artificial intelligence. But today, if I don't think that I need to learn the impact of artificial intelligence in cybersecurity, then in few months or in few years' time, I will be at the back seat. And I don't think anybody that has come this far would want to be shifted to the back. So you must know, at what point do I move away from where I am? At what point do I expand my tentacles? Okay, should I put risk management? When I was doing risk management, I now realized, okay, so risk management from IT is just about technology. If I want to talk about risk management, which is going to give me more visibility, I have to talk about business risk. And when I started thinking about business risk, I now have to understand something called business continuity. Business continuity is a plan you put in place to ensure that organizations continue to operate. If there's an operational risk, if there's a disruption in their technology, if there's a disruption in their process. So you see, if I had stuck to IT risk, looking at my computers, what are the risks, all that, I won't have that visibility and I won't move from just being an operational person to a strategic person. So these are things you need to think about as you progress in your career. So based on that, work-life balance is very important. Why am I saying this? I'm giving these preambles because you can never grow in your career if you don't understand this planning. Life balance is very important. You understand where your work starts and where it ends and where family comes in. I remember when I started my career, and started family, I didn't throw away that. When I started my family, I realized, okay, so I have different caps on my head as a mother, as a wife, as a career person. Most of the certifications I did, what I do is I must do my exams when the children are in school. So when school is over, because I usually will take 2 weeks or 3 weeks before my exam to write my exam. So those days of leaves, I'm very sure they are not at home. So if you don't understand the work-life balance, you might not be able to go too far. It's either that at some point you're losing one part of your life. It's either your life is going, your family is going away from you, or you're losing your work. And again, remember to do evaluation. So let's go to the business of today, skills and qualification. Identify the skills and qualification necessary to reach your career goal. Determine if you need to acquire these skills, certifications or educations, and how to be competitive in your chosen field. So what that means is that you must understand that's your goals. How do I achieve them? What are the skills I need? What certifications do I need? What education? So I picked GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. For me to be a good governance, risk, and compliance, sometimes people think that GRC seems to be the lighter part of cybersecurity. No, GRC is deeper than anyone can think about, because I can't be a governance specialist, I can't be a risk specialist if I don't understand how technology works, if I don't understand how tools work, if I don't understand, for example, one part of risk assessment is to ensure that the vulnerability assessment is being done in your organization. And from vulnerability assessment, the report of the vulnerability assessment, the incidents that are critical, the ones that are high, the ones that are medium. And for your organization, you need to understand if an incident is critical, if a vulnerability is high, if it is medium, what is the turnaround time? How many days, weeks do we need to implement the mitigation? So as a risk person, you must understand technology. So whether you like it or not, sometimes I advise people move into network security first, move into risk assessment first before you become a governance and compliance person. Because what compliance does is that you're checking if the processes, the tools, technology is complying with the controls that have been implemented. So basically, you need to understand what you're doing. So at this point, when you identify those skills and qualifications, that's where your roadmap comes in. And you say, when and how and at what point do I acquire this skill, this qualification, and all this. So the business of this day, if you followed what I put up, seconding to Wallace's post on LinkedIn, I was asking, what are the reasons why you get certified? You must understand the reason at what point. So first of all, skills validation. Like I said, there are a lot of us in the industry. The easiest way, let nobody deceive you, the easiest way to bring you to stage before I start speaking to you, if I have two people that I want to interview, and this person says, I'm an expert in risk management, and this person says, I'm an expert in risk management. So, okay, if I have opportunity of talking to only one person, I rather speak to somebody that has certification in risk, maybe CISA or CISM. Okay, so at that point, if your certification is not being shown from your experiences, at that point, I'll start considering someone else. So validation of skill, industry recognition is very important. It increases your employability, like I said, for career advancement. So if you're moving from one stage of your career to the next stage of your career, it's very important that you consider certifications. Okay, so for example, when we go deeper into the presentation, you see at what point, which certification should I take at this point in my career, and which certification should I take at the other point in my career. Like I said, I'm a certified Chief Information Security Officer. I don't advise anybody that has been 1, 2, 3 years post-graduation, because these days, the experiences some of us got in 5 years, some Gen Zs are getting it in 1 year or 2 years. But that doesn't defy that you can be a Chief Information Security Officer 2 years post-graduation. So you need to take cognizance of all that. Then networking opportunities. Certification is also very good because it's going to expose you to networking. So for example, ISACA, ISC2. So you see people, okay, oh, we are CISA certified people. So from there, you have recommendations and referrals in case you're looking for jobs. And then with certifications, you attend events. So I know there are some conferences that when you're attending them, you're saying, oh, if you're certified information security auditor or certified information security manager, and you are a member of ISACA, so your payment is half the price. So basically, these are exposures that certification will give to you. Certifications, like I said earlier, are professional credentials that validate specific knowledge and skills in information security. So here we are. A moment, I think. Okay, so good. So we have, I hope I'm not talking to myself. Can you
Not
all
at
hear
all.
me?
Not at all. We hear.
Okay, good. All right. So we have certifications everywhere from different bodies. So if you look at what I'm showing on my screen, you see the one on my left, which is your right, Certified Cybersecurity Operations Analyst. This came out about 2 years ago from ISACA. I mean, it was not there when people like us were doing our certifications. You see Certified Ethical Hacker, CompTIA, certified in cybersecurity, that's the ISC2 entrance exam, CISSP, CCSO, CZIN, certified in governance, risk and compliance, certified cloud security professional, C-risk, that's certified in risk and information systems control, GIAC, security essentials, offensive security, OSCP, sister certified information system auditor. There are a whole lot of them in the industry as we speak. And that is why you need to get a mentor, or you be in a group like cyber security mentorship group that Wale has put up for all of us. So, okay, so what's going on? So I'm going to give us, I'm going to be quick about that. I'm looking at the time, 7:44. I learned that we usually do from 7 to 8. I should be rounding off by now. So I'm going to be very quick about this. You can contact me if you need further information. So the focus, I need you to pay attention here, the focus and the benefits. If you want to do ethical hacker, tools and techniques for ethical hacking. So ethical hackers are the good guys inside the organization. So they are not the bad guys in the black dark webs. So the ethical guys are people that organization employ to act as hackers. So they help organization to find out where there are vulnerabilities within their system. So these guys are experts in penetration testing and vulnerability assessment. So ethical hacker, certified ethical hacker looks like a starting point for that career path. Then basic security practices, network security, compliance, and operational security, that's CompTIA. That's like the starting point, because you cannot be a cybersecurity expert if you don't understand network security and operational security. So network security, you need to understand Wi-Fi, you need to understand local area network, wide area network, connectivities, you need to understand modems and all the security devices, configuration of those devices, and how the vulnerabilities that could exist with them or exist in them. Then certified in cybersecurity, this is by ISC2 certification. Entry-level certification is designed to help individuals launch their careers in cybersecurity. So you can also see that I was putting providers, EC Council for Ethical Hacking, CompTIA.org, www.isc2.org, then entry-level practical skills in implementing and managing security technologies. GIAC is a very expensive security. If you're in the US and you're trying to get into cybersecurity and you can afford it, I advise you go with them. So see the benefits. Okay, so for ethical hacker, like I said before, it teaches you how to think and act like a hacker. For CompTIA 1, for beginners to demonstrate competency in cybersecurity fundamentals. Then for C, certified in cybersecurity. So normal questions that come to me is, Madam, should I do CC for ISC2 and then do CompTIA again? No, you can't be doing all of them, because I will show you which ones are the basic ones. So you choose either of them. You can decide to go with CompTIA security. You can decide to go with CC of IS2. You can decide to go with the GIAC. And so you can decide to go with ISACA. So the ISACA one, technical skills to evaluate threats, identify vulnerabilities, and recommend countermeasures to prevent cyber incidents. the next part, okay, so the second part, you have CISA. So at this point, we have left the foundation, the basic. We are now moving a little bit higher, going to a particular route in your career plan. So if you want to be an auditor or you're already an auditor, so most people that do this certification are chartered accountants that want to go into information security auditing. So recognized globally for IS audit, control, assurance, and security professionals. So what it gives is also provides you, somebody is doing something, drawing on the screen. So provides knowledge and skills that assess vulnerabilities, reports on compliance and institute controls. Then the C-risk is, if you are looking at GLC, these are your certifications, CISA, C-risk. Then CCSP is cloud security. Everybody understands that organizations are moving most of their processes to the cloud. So gone are the days where organizations invest a lot in their permanent hardware and all that. I'm sure as time progresses, if you have been in this field, you understand what I'm saying, that organizations are moving, it's cheaper to go to the cloud like Amazon, Google, Microsoft Azure, Google, AWS, Google, I've forgotten what Google is called, then AWS for Amazon. You buy up some compute and buy up some networks. So to, reduce the cost of having permanent hardwares, and because of the evolution of technology systems, including hardwares and softwares, instead of getting tied down to a particular vendor, you want to invest in cloud systems. So if you're going to be a security consultant for cloud system, this is a very good certification for you. It validates advanced skills in securing cloud environment, developing cloud architecture, and risk management. Excuse me. Then GLC provides comprehensive. So this is also coming from IS2. It demonstrates a comprehensive understanding of GLC principles and practices. So you might consider this if you want to look at governance, risk, and compliance. Then we are getting more and more into specialization, hands-on offensive security skill, penetration testing, and real-world attack simulation. This OffSec, offensive security, teaches you real-world penetration testing. If you want to be an insider, so in the good guy that's inside, you need this. And these guys are paid so much, because what they do is that they sit at the network perimeter, and keep trying to hack their own organization. CISM, Advanced Security Certification, that is focused on the management and governance of information security programs provided by ISACA. Then the almighty CISSP. I'm sure if you have been in information security for a long time, you understand what I call this almighty, because in fact, I learned that in United Kingdom, that UK, CISSP is regarded as a degree program because it has 8 domains. In the 8 domain involves anything you can do in information security, starting from understanding your risk, starting from understanding the cryptography, understanding asset management, to the extent of security programs. Becoming a chief information security officer is a very tough exam. You need a lot of prerequisite understanding before you can, go into that. And that's for us baby boomers and older generations. For Gen Zs, I trust you guys, you can pick this up and go through it. But remember, certification, you have exam and you have experiences. So passing the exam doesn't make you a certified professional. There are some requirements you have to go through for you to be. And the next one is chief information security officer. That's an executive level. So if you're looking towards becoming a C-suite in information security, this is a recommended exam for you. So for beginners, like I've classified them, please look at CompTIA. CompTIA is very good. In fact, if you don't have background in IT, if you didn't study computer science, I recommend you go to CompTIA, because CompTIA will talk about technology, talk about computing, talk about networks. Certified in cybersecurity by IS2 is a bit simpler, but you need prerequisite knowledge from CompTIA to help you do that. So what I advise people is do CompTIA, read it, even if you're not writing the exam, then you can write either CISO, Certified Cybersecurity Operational Analyst from ISACA, or you do ISS 2. But for people that have money, you can do CompTIA, you can then choose any of those. Then intermediates, becoming a hacker, GIAC, certified governance, risk and compliance. Remember, this is my experience. This is not a standard from anyone. So, so before you ask, so is this documented that I should do this if I'm a beginner? I'm telling you based on my experience, my 20 years or 22 years experience working this path. Then advanced is CISSP, season CISA, certified cloud series. When I did my CISA, I just read I attended the training in Lagos, read it, how you're reading, went into the exam, and I passed my exam. But 4 years, not until I started working in Central Bank, when you're working, you're nodding your head. Oh, is that what I read in that exam? Oh, so again, it can help you to get to where you're going to, but bear in mind that sometimes experiences matters a lot, for you to get certified. Then experts. So are you a CCSO? Are you offensive? That's OSCP. So based on my experiences, these are the way I think you should tackle your certifications. So who are there for? The roles, so there are a lot of roles in the organization, based on nomenclature. Organization could tag a particular position which they want to employ people into. They can give it a different name, but what you have to know is what are the job description. So if you're going into security, like I said before, security entrance, security administrator, system administrator, network administrator, security specialist, please look at CompTIA security. Security administrator again, so you can look at the GIAC, GSEC, I said. Then CEH, that's if you want to be an ethical hacker, you can look at certifications that talks about ethical. Sorry, if you want to be an ethical hacker, penetration tester, security consultant, IT auditor, vulnerability analyst, please look at ethical hacker certification on ethical hacking. Then CC, anyone interested in cybersecurity, school leavers, career changers, it will be easier for you to start from there. If you want to be an IT auditor, audit manager, IT consultant, compliance analyst, risk analyst, consider looking at CISA. It's very important. So for you to be an IT auditor or IT consultant, you want to write CISA, I would assume that you would have taken either CompTIA security, or you would have taken GSEC, or you would have taken CC, any of those. Then if you want to be information security manager, at this point, you either have taken CompTIA CC or CC or then season if you want to be a risk manager, because season CISA, they support the role of GLC. If you want to be a GLC, at this point, you have understood your governance, you've understood your risk, you understood your compliance. So you want to be GLC security analyst, there are roles like that. So why I'm giving different roles, interpretation of this role, because organizations can publish or, advertise a role like GLC security analyst, information risk manager, compliance manager, IT auditor. Then look at GLC, certifications on GLC, CISSP, if you want to be information security manager, security consultant, chief information security officer, please look at CISSP. So as it is for other certifications you can see on the screen. Yes, what's your inspiration? So I like to talk about this, put this on my presentation. I didn't take permission from the people that their pictures are there. Anyway, they're on LinkedIn, so their privacy is already exposed. So I'm sure some people that are listening to this presentation will say, ah, God, when will I be like Madam? When will I be like Wale? It's a dream. As you're saying that, as you're saying, when will you be like me? Believe you me, I'm also looking at when I will be like Toluwani, the guy that you can see on that place. You can see Michael, the global CISA. I'm also thinking on how I will be like him. So, but what's the difference? What is the gap between where you are and where I am? And where I am and where these two guys are? It's about dream, it's about plan, It's about discipline. It's about putting in the work. Like I said, you can dream. If you don't convert your dreams to plan, if you have a plan and you're not disciplined enough to implement your plan, you're going to continue to be where you are. So what is pursuing your dream? What is, so when we talk about dream, there must be motivation. There must be something pushing you. Is it your passion? Is it that you need money to pay your rent? Is it that you need money to pay your children's school fees? Or you need to solve a problem? There must be motivation. You need to identify that. Okay? So basically that's that. Now, preparing and writing information security certification exam is not a walk in the park. If you're already working, taking out time to prepare for exam is very difficult. So, and that is where your discipline comes in. So if you're like me, I don't hide to read. So me, one day before a day to my exam, you can see how that is. That's exactly how, whether it's in my room or my office, is a day to my exam, because I'm always running late. But I advise young ones, don't be like us. So a day before the exam, I become the most religious person in the world. I have to pray and pray after reading and reading and praying. Then enter the exam hall. First reaction when I see the question paper, I've done some certification exam. I'll read the first question, no. Read the second one, no. I'll go to the last question. I remember the last ISACA exam I took, that was season. I think that was 2000 and, I can't remember, 2020 or 2000 and, I can't remember. I read the first two questions and I'm like, oh my goodness, and I'm not going to disappoint myself in this old age. So I went to start from the back, and it became a bit easier. And the most important thing is that when you enter the exam, unless you're the one that sets the exam, there must be butterflies in your stomach. You must acknowledge that. But you're not going to lose your guard. Keep reading the questions and start answering the questions. Tick the ones you think you don't know. And finally, when the result comes out, everybody gets, you celebrate your success. So certification process: train and prepare for exam, write and pass the exam, fulfill the requirements, apply and get certified. Like I said, passing the exam is one arm of certification. There are requirements by every organizations that issues certifications, like ISACA or ISC2 or PMP. Will say, like PMP, I remember PMP very well. It will tell you that you're supposed to have 350 hours project hours before you say you're a project manager. You can pass the exam, no problem. Keep working until you're able to document 350 hours on project. And remember, project could be anything that has a start date and end date. And ASACA will also tell you, passing your sister exam is also good, but we need to see justifications that you have done information system auditing. And once you get certified, the next year, trust them, the next thing is you have to do your CPE, continuous profession. I can't remember this again. Some people call it PDU, some people call it CPU. Is a way to continue to show that you're still standing in good terms with the certification. And I think that's the end of my presentation. And I promised I was going to show something like a sample career plan that for young people, like I said earlier, if you don't document this, if you don't put it in black and white, it's just a wish, it's just a dream. So I don't know if you're still seeing my screen.
Yes, we can still see the screen.
Okay, so I think I use this for some of my mentees in Cyber Girls. So so you want to be a certified governance, risk and compliance expert, chief risk officer by 2028, assuming. And these are the skills you require. You require governance, ensures that strategic goals, rules, policies.
We're not seeing the particular one you are reading.
Okay, are you seeing an Excel sheet?
No, we are seeing I think you shared the presentation.
Okay, so let me stop sharing the presentation and I'll share my screen again.
All right.
And I think, okay, so this is it. So, okay. So can you see the screen now?
I think it's coming up. Yes, we can.
Okay. So assuming your career goal is to be a certified governance, risk, and compliance expert by 2028. So you see how I said it? By 2028, there must be a timeline. And what's the description of this goal? The objective is to ensure that an organization acts in accordance with its internal policies, external compliance requirements, and risk appetite through the alignment of strategy with organizational objectives in terms of security. So, and the skills you require governance skills, managing risk to acceptable levels by analyzing risk probability and impact, monitoring and reporting on the organization conformity with both internal and external policies, managing projects that involves the implementation and deployment of solutions to ensure organizations act in accordance with rules and regulations. So basically, this might be the skills you require to be a chief risk officer or governance risk and compliance expert by 2028. You're not going to wait till 2027 to see, how am I going to achieve this goal? No. At this point, you would have done remember the career plan I showed in the presentation, your qualification, okay, so degree program, business, finance, information, technology, law, or any other thing, master's and bachelor's certification in risk management, information security governance. Those are qualifications. Now you're going to set your goals. So my first target is by 2025. The milestone is at foundation and education, internship and entry-level positions, register with relevant bodies, connect with people of relevant interest, and request coaching. Do you understand? So those are the things I want to achieve. Those are the milestones. Then under certification, I want to be CISA certified by 2025. Okay. By 2026, I want to do COBIT, that's Control Objective for Information and Related Technology by ISACA. And so there are a whole lot of milestones, certification. So I think I gave them this as an assignment to fill it out. And yes, I remember some of them did it and we worked on it on their mentorship calls. Okay. So you can see skills to acquire, steps you need to take, training, revision practice, bootcamp exam registration, and exam. So if by 2025 you want to be CISA certified, so what it means is by October, for instance, you could decide in January, February, March. By October, you're going to do your training, and maybe your training is going to be for 5 weeks or 6 weeks. You're going to do your revision by what? Between 20th November to 16th of December. You register your exam by 20th of December, and you write your exam by 27th December. So this is a good plan. So if you put out this plan by 1st January of 2025, by now, I'm sure you understand the cost. So if the cost of your training is 300,000, you either start planning or you stop buying those bottle of beer on Fridays or after work, or your shawarma, or those new shirts, or those cinemas. You start canceling them. Your exam is 500,000. So I think now the exam is about 1.something million, either 1.2. So basically, if you're planning that exam is going to take you 1.5 million, including your training. So what it means is that by January, if you want to register for exam by December, so if we have 12 months to write this exam and we have to get 1.2 million or 1.5 million, what that means at the minimum, every month you should keep aside nothing less than 200,000. So if you can't take a part of your salary from that to get that 200,000, then you must find another stream of income that'll make you to save up that money, or you're going to take loan. I'm just telling you how career is planned, because if it's a good wish, you put up this plan, and then by October, you're not asking, how much is the trend? They say 300,000, and home and abroad in all your savings account, you don't have up to 300,000. You see that plan has failed for 2025. So that's why it's very important to document your plans. You must understand this. So basically, I think I've come to the end of my presentation. This is 6 minutes after 8 p.m. I'm so sorry I took a lot of time.
No, it was interesting. I was smiling all through.
That's all I could do.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you
Sharing.
so much. And there's a question in the chat. Sorry, in the chat. Is asking about SSCP by IS2. Where would you classify that?
So SSCP is also specialization. Okay. So some people say, why don't you do CISSP first before you go into SSCP? That's system security. Somebody remind me, Wale,
Control.
can you remember?
Maybe control professional. I think control professional.
Yes. So somebody says that, so if you do CISSP, if you're going to do SSCP, it's going to be easier because a domain in CISSP talks about, I think this is about application security.
No,
Can
so
someone tell me?
I think this is
Okay, system
CP.
security,
Yeah,
yes, system security.
is before CISSP. Is actually for people who don't have the number of experience, and they just want to do something close to CISSP. So they have to start with CS. Yeah. So it's something that you do before CISSP.
Okay.
Because CISSP you have more experience.
Yes. For some certifications, CISSP is like the baba of all of that. So it depends on how you want to approach it. Okay. So you could decide to do a portion of it, which is SSCP, before going into CISSP. Because what it means is that when you're now doing CISSP, part of some things you learned from your system security, asset management and all that, networking, systems design and all that will still appear in CISSP. You understand? So it depends on the specialization that you want to focus on.
Thank you so much. When you were mentioning CSM in 2012, I was in the hall maybe in June 2020.
Yes, somewhere in Ojota. You remember,
it was
right?
I think it was Ogba. Ogba. That was where I wrote it in 2012.
That was where I did mine too.
And I was saying that maybe
it was physical exam, right?
Yeah, it was physical. Yeah, you have to go into that place.
Physical exam. Yes, you have to go to that place.
So as you were mentioning 2012, I just remember that exam.
Yes, it was, yes, Ogba. Yes, it's Ogba.
I also remember that the cost of the exam, it was I think last year I was talking to someone about CSM, and the person was saying CSM is the same, really not too much far from the amount it was in dollars. But when we converted it, it was over 1.2 million. And you gave some ideas about how to go about it, and you mentioned cutting down on some costs. And when somebody suggested that, he said that when he wanted to write his exam, he decided to organize what they call ajo. So some people may not understand, but ajo is like contribution, and he ensured that he was the first to pack. Then when he got that, he went to pay for the exam. So he knew that this exam I can't fail. I have already.
Exactly.
So it's actually, it requires a lot of planning. You were making it so practical in terms of the cost of the exam then wasn't total of our salary. I can remember that I was able to save like 3 months, and I was able to afford it, and I paid. It wasn't too much. It wasn't, but now to be able to pay for Caesar or the season, it takes a lot, and people are not earning that much. So it requires planning. It requires a lot of planning. I think you broke down that certification. I think the questions I wanted to ask, you've already answered.
Has already been answered.
Because the beginner aspect, people are confused. I was looking at Paul Jeremy's website. He has a roadmap on certifications, and he said that there are, according to him, in 2024, as of 2024 July, there are 481 cybersecurity certifications. 480.
Oh my goodness.
So people are confused as regard, where do I start from? And I like the way you broke it down. You brought from Isaka, and to confess, I'm actually writing a documentation, not a book really, but a documentation on a career roadmap. And the things that you were mentioning there, I was like, did Uche see my notes? Those Isaka's entry level, ISC2 entry level, they are actually very, very, very good. Very, very, very good. Thank you so much. And I like that plan. That plan actually is very good. You know where you're going, and it's good for that you know, there are financial implications. And
You need to understand that
yes,
and plan ahead.
I also remember when I was writing my series, I had to, because I had to even tell my wife about this exam requires a lot of concentration. Just for this
Yeah,
time,
life
please.
work
Let's, you know,
balance. Yes.
it's not exam that you want to fail. And even now is more expensive. So anyone that is
Exactly.
planning it need to have that understanding, devotion, you know, and also
Mm.
communicate. Again, I think you address a lot of things. Then I remember my journey into cybersecurity. People told me, there is no job for cybersecurity. Why are you doing it? Why don't you go to networking? And I said that I like it because I'm curious about this area. So, and today you can basically get into anybody, touch anybody. Look at the way I was able to connect with you. Somebody was telling me,
Exactly.
Wale, you know people. How did you know this woman? I said, it's LinkedIn. LinkedIn just give us that room to engage, and, you know, so you have the world before you. Look at Toluwani's profile. In fact, I'm going to look at
Exactly.
it after the.
No, I'm following.
I'm going to
I'm
look at it because
following.
it's actually inspiring. You know, seeing
Yes,
how people got to where it
exactly.
wasn't possible like 10 years ago for you to see all those information. You can't even
Exactly.
can't
We
even
didn't
see
have
it.
that
Yeah.
opportunity. You know, like I keep telling my mentees, I said, cybersecurity or career plan is like there's something they call progressive elaboration in project management. So
Mm.
it's like as you're stepping your feet, is
This
widening.
why.
So you keep understanding. And that was why I put that adaptability in my career
Yeah.
planning.
Yeah.
So as you learn more, open your eyes, you understand.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I had stood on, or I'm an IT risk manager, I mean, I'm going into a
Yeah.
C-level, so I need to talk to business owners about
Yeah.
risk, and
You
they
know,
don't understand what
you,
my server, the risk to my server. They
yeah.
need to understand business continuity. They need to understand business impact analysis. They
Yeah.
need to understand why we need to spend money to
Yeah.
ensure that we have a redundant site
Yeah.
somewhere not
Yeah.
around our
Yeah.
premises.
Yeah.
They need
Yeah.
to understand how we have to test, carry out those full interruption tests and say, okay, today we are not running from our native data center. We are
So,
going to run from our data center in Lagos. They need to understand those. And the only way you can explain that to them, if you tell them the cost of not running a
mm,
particular process in a day or
mm,
in 2 hours.
mm,
Do you
mm,
understand? So that's the only way they understand risk. If you
yeah.
keep telling them, if we are hard to the database server will go off for one day, no, nobody understands that.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so
that's
much. It was,
exactly how it is.
yeah, it was a part. It was a loaded session, and this type of session, you don't. It's thank God that we even recorded it because we can go back to it again and again. And for people that missed it, they will be able to pick it up again. And I think I will just run through. We are basically done, but let me just run through the last aspect just for formality aspect
Okay.
of our sessions. Thank you so much for the presentation. I really took notes and enjoy it too.
No
Um,
problem, sorry.
let me share my screen. Okay, so the
Okay.
rest. So I think we're done with this now. Yeah. So currently on the cybersecurity mentoring group, we are we have a hands-on session. We run it every Thursday and Saturday. So this is our facilitator, and we have done our ninth lecture. We did it this morning. So
Oh,
we're
wow.
doing some hands-on on cyber security, focusing on SC200, which is a cybersecurity operation analyst from Microsoft. You know, Microsoft is about the largest tech firm in terms of cybersecurity. So we thought that
Yeah.
organization are invested a lot inside in Microsoft. So it's good that people have that experience. So our facilitator, Ayo Kumi, is taking the class. We have we started with about 18 people. Now we have about, I think maybe about 13 people that are committed, and they show up every time. Today we had 11 out of 13 of them who attended. So it's part of the programs that we run. And again,
and these things
free.
are free, right?
It's free, actually. It's free, and some people don't even turn up too, but it's free. So it's just one way for us to help people get started. Certification is good, but you need to be able to demonstrate it by, as you mentioned, validate your experience. And if that experience is not there, it'll be difficult to prove.
Yeah.
And we also, on the right hand side, we try to develop some learning. So we ask people who are in our group to volunteer to maybe do some write-up and share on the group. So we share some of those learning. Sometimes there's a lady that was helping us out, and she's committed to developing content to, just to create some kind of digital footprint in case people are looking for any opportunity to, do something in cyber. You can reach out to me, and you can pick an area of your choice, and we'll develop materials. In this, thank you also for mentioning ChatGPT and also using it for career planning. In this age of ChatGPT and other generative AI, a lot of things are quite easier. Content are quite easier to generate. It's just the time, the devotion, dedication to be able to do what is important that matters.
And that's asking the right question.
Yeah. So thanks. So we've at least we've done April successfully. We've covered for May. Thank you so much, Iche, for being our first guest in May. We have already secured our speaker for 17th and 31st. So, and 14th of June, we also have secured our speaker for 28th of June. So I'm going to reach out to one other person for 14th of June. So that's how we try to bring people who are experienced to the community to help those that are trying to find their path to grow. How do we join the closed group? So the group is on, okay, we will talk about this. It's a WhatsApp. It's just an information board on WhatsApp, actually, because I'm the only one posting information in that group, because we don't want to bore people with a lot of information. But I try to just take basic registration just to know people that are coming to that group, and then we had them there. It's from that point we actually recruit people that want to, join the master classes. We are currently running the cyber security operations analyst. So we got people who are interested from that group. We will be running others, especially for people who want to start off that journey. Some are in a different field entirely, and they think cybersecurity is where they should start from. So courses like CC from ISA to CompTIA, there are plans that we have, and really so we are not even short of facilitator. What we are short of is commitment of people.
I can't even imagine.
It's the commitment of people to be present, because how do you get a facilitator to come to class and be waiting for people to turn up? So until we have that commitment, we will not be able to start a new program. But so far, for the Microsoft that we are running, it's been a good